there's one thing that machine embroidery deals with that other crafts don't have to deal with, it is a ton of threads. And storing them can be a bit of a problem. I actually started counting my spools of threads and I stopped at 350. I know, it's bad. It's too many. Maybe. And you can see behind me I have a thread rack on the wall that's fairly close to my machine over here, but it's not quite close enough. But over here on the other side of my machine, I tend to just set my spools of thread down or hold them in a little thing like this, and it gets kind of messy. So I'd like to clean this up. When an Amazon seller called Sotec asked me if I wanted to review their thread rack and share it with you, I agreed, because it can be wall mounted or stand on a table. And it has some extra long pegs to hold those huge cones. So it might work for my problem area over there. Let's see if this thing is any good, and I'm going to put it to the test. The thread rack arrived in this printed box, and inside we find you may have noticed there were no instructions in there, and at first I was like, where are the instructions? But they're on the box. So yeah, I found them. Another thing I realized when I looked at the parts is there's 2 different thread stands in there. So for $30, that's a good deal. That wasn't obvious to me from the Amazon listing. It's got holes so you can hang it on the wall, or you can use the legs that come with it. Either way, it uses the same screws. Either you got a screw in the legs, or you can use the screws to hang it on the wall. And I like that it comes with the little screws and the little drywall anchors so that I don't have to go and search for the screws. And you have to get these legs, like the holes on the side there. You have to get the legs just perfectly positioned. Line that up, put those screws in. I should have got my drill out. Ha ha ha! And when you put those screws in, that's what makes the legs only go out so far. So it will only, like, there's only one angle. It's not adjustable as far as the angle that it sits. It's always going to sit the same way. Those screws were kind of hard to get into the plastic, so I did end up using my drill because, you know, I don't want it to take forever. But you could certainly do it with a screwdriver. And now we just need to put all the pins in. I'm expecting it to click, but it didn't click. But can you get it back out again? I just don't know where I want all these pegs. Like, I do know that for the large cones, I always want those to be at the bottom because they're heavier, and you don't want like a bookcase, you don't want it to be top heavy. You want to put the heavier things on the bottom. So if this were down here, then I could put one here. You can't, like, obviously you can't put the pegs like right next to each other if you're using the big cones, because you couldn't put 2 cones that close together. But this way, I think that, yeah, that'll work fine. So, and there it clicked. I heard it that time. Maybe every other. There we go. Click. You may have noticed I decided to take out, like, I didn't like how I had those, so I took them out, and I did have to use the pliers again to get them out. So they're in there pretty secure, though. I mean, once they're in, they're in. But they're not in, like, forever and ever. You can use pliers to get them out. I've got the stand all assembled. Now it's time to give it a home and load it up. Hey, get back up. Tasty thread. Hey, shoot, go. What do I think about this thread rack? It's a great price. $30 gets you 2 of the racks, so you can put a lot of thread on there. It's easy to set up. I like the white color. The pegs are long enough that you can add some bobbins underneath your short spools, or you can put the large cones on there. I like that it's really versatile. You can configure the peg spacing and take advantage of more rack space. Other racks for big cones have fixed spacing, and at least this one you can configure it the way you want. And something that I didn't even think about is you can move this around really easily. Not that I really have anywhere else that I can put it right now, but you can hang it on the wall, you can slide it off because there's the little keyhole screw holes here, so you can take it off the wall and use the legs and put it on a table, which is really good if you sew on your kitchen table and you need portable storage. You can take it off the wall where you're storing it, put it on the table when you're using it, put it back. So I like that. I want to address something as far as storing threads out in the open on a thread rack. Someone once said in one of the comments that they would never store threads out in the open because light and dust would damage the thread. That is true for natural fibers like cotton quilting thread. But polyester thread is very robust. The color won't easily fade, and unless your workspace is super dusty, like you're sewing in a sawmill, you're not going to hurt your threads or your machine by storing your polyester threads out on a rack. I have stored my poly threads in the open for over a decade, never had an issue. As far as what I wish were different on this, I wish that there were more longer pegs for my extra large cones. Even if I had to buy them as an extra, I might do that. It would be worth it for me. Would I buy this rack? Yeah, I think I would. I like that it is white, like I said before, and I've used white racks in the past. And I like that you can put it on the wall or put it on a table. That one, that's kind of a good thing for me because I like being able to, without having to buy more equipment or storage, I can change things around. Normally I wouldn't put things on a table, but if I'm already stacking things on the table, then putting an organizer on that table is going to work better for me. So that covers it for the SewTech thread rack. Can't tell you how many times I have messed that up. It holds 60 spools of thread or less if you're going to use the extra long pegs that it comes with. For your larger cones, each rack holds 60 spools of thread if you fully load it up, and you get 2 racks. So you're going to be able to store 120 spools for the $30 price that they have it on Amazon. That's a pretty good deal. I will leave a link down in the description box if you're interested in purchasing this from Amazon. It is an affiliate link that I'm going to give you, so if you do end up buying with that link, Amazon will give me a little bit of a commission. Thank you very much for helping me out and supporting this channel, and I'll see you later, folks.